Hello, my beautiful friends, and welcome to the Claim Your Magic podcast with me, Sabrina Scott, where I talk all about how to claim your magic and change your life. And this podcast is brought to you by the Claim Your Magic community and membership, which is now been existing since February, and I am super stoked that it's been this really lovely slow burn. And it's just been this fantastic dipping my toes into something new, a new space of exploration, vulnerability, creativity, all of that. And it's just great. In the community, we are doing Magic May, just like we did last year over a texting app called Telegram, but I've decided to move the Magic May group challenge experience from Telegram instead of that, doing it inside the community. So folks get access to the challenge, 31 days of magic. So there will be a little prompt, a reflection question, or an invitation to activity every single day. And in addition to that, everyone who joins up for the challenge is going to get access to the community in general. And that does include past classes, because I've been teaching monthly classes. The ones that we've done so far are on deities, spring equinox magic, and of course, authenticity. A few folks have already joined up, and our core cohort is so lovely. I just want to big up everyone in the community at the moment. Everyone is fucking amazing. I honestly don't know what I did to deserve everyone being so fantastic, but everyone is kind, curious, patient, compassionate, self-reflective, supportive of one another. Like, honestly, it's just so dreamy, and I'm really stoked to engage in this experience with everyone and just fucking vibe out together. And I do want to give a slight spoiler alert just so people aren't like disappointed or confused. And I know a lot of people probably wouldn't have even noticed this if I didn't mention it. But for Magic May, hear me out. I am going to be using a lot of the same questions as last year. Why? Because when we reflect on the same thing 1 year apart, so if anyone has kept your reflections from Magic May last year, maybe you joined up, maybe you decided to screen cap your responses or save them for posterity, since I did give folks time to do that, it will be a really cool experience to look at your answers from last year if you kept them, or even just remembered how you felt last year if you decided to participate, and compare that to your answer this year. And I think, honestly, we don't do this kind of thing enough. Everyone is so focused on the new, the exciting, the fresh, the this, the that, the blah, blah, blah. And on one hand, I get that. And I do have a podcast episode in my brain that is going to be talking about the importance of new experiences and newness and novelty and experimentation and play and all of that type of stuff. But we'll shelf that for now. I do think that we learn a lot when we look back a year later and see, what was I feeling about this question? What was I feeling about this prompt? What was my relationship to this kind of magic or that kind of magic? How has that changed over the past year? And I do still have the group chat from last year, and so I've been going over it and just rereading even my responses to the prompts and noticing how much even I have grown since last year in regards to how I would answer a lot of these prompts. And so I know some people probably are going to be like, Sabrina is being so lazy and is just giving the same questions. How lame. But hold your horses. It's intentional. Because if you think about what ritual is about return. Ritual is about sameness. Ritual is about repetition. And it's a lot easier to see the shape of our growth, the height of our growth, the length of our growth, if we're using the same measuring stick. And so I am really excited to go through these questions again, and I'm going to be answering these prompts from scratch again this year with everybody. So I'm going to be participating fully in this as well. And I'm really excited to reflect on all these prompts and how much I've grown in the past year, how much my practice has changed in the past year, how my reflections have deepened about each and every one of these topics that I'm asking you guys about. And it was so fun to go over them again and make a few little tiny tweaks as I'm pitching them to the group again. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I hope you decide to join up. It is $37 to join my Claim Your Magic community for a month. And so if you do join up now, you will be able to participate in the Magic May group challenge experience and get to know all the really lovely folks in the space. If you are someone who loves witchcraft and magic and spirituality, and maybe you've been feeling a little bit alone in your practice, maybe you have been feeling kind of in a rut, or like you wish you could connect with spirituality and magic every single day, but maybe you are too lazy or can't be bothered or don't even know like how you would go about doing that. And I'm not knocking the lazy folks. I totally get it. Sometimes when we're new at something or inexperienced or a little bit confused, still kind of finding our sea legs, sometimes that's just when we want to be told what to do, what to think about, what to reflect on, and given those prompts, given that structure to help us explore and expand in the context of our magic. And that is part of what this experience, this group challenge thing that I'm doing is all about. And so in addition to that, you'll get access to all the other challenges that have been going on for the last few months, including challenges to introduce yourself, post a picture of your altar, tell us what spirits you work with, and also check-ins for every full moon, every new moon, tarot card of the month. And I've invited everyone to join me in my 4,000 steps a day challenge I'm doing for myself. It's a fun challenge I just decided to do with a really old friend of mine and decided to bring that into the community. And some folks have jumped in, and that's been super fucking cool. So you'll get access to all of that stuff, as well as the classes from past months, as well as whatever the hell the class ends up being for May. I haven't decided what it's going to be yet. I'm going to wait and see what folks in the challenge experience for Magic May feel and want to fucking talk about and want to learn about in a deeper way as we move through Magic May. So I'm fucking stoked for it. I hope you decide to join up. It's going to be a really neat experience, and yeah, welcome, hopefully. If you want to join up, the URL, of course, is claimyourmagicwithsabrina.com/membership, and I hope to see you inside. Okay, now that little ad/invitation is done, I wanted to talk a little bit about authenticity yet again. And there is something I've been thinking about a lot, and I've been going to this is like so not really my usual on-brand thing to do, but I've been going to some kind of hippy-dippy, like meditation-y, like tapping, like whatever, gong type of things. And what's been really cool about that is, well, first of all, it's like totally not my usual jam, like at all. But what's been really cool about it is it's given me this time and space for my brain to slow down, to just focus on what is going on in my body in a different type of way than in my own practice, right? So it's cool to step out of our comfort zone, check out something new, see what the vibe is. But anywho, the reason I'm bringing this up is in these sessions, I've been able to really meditate on and have some of these interesting thoughts and ways of framing things in conjunction with experiences with my clients, my students, etc., but especially the folks I'm working with one-on-one, and just thinking about my own life and blah, blah, blah. And what I want to talk about today is the relationship between authenticity and loss. And this is something I talked about a bit in the class that I taught on living an authentic life in the group class in the Claim Your Magic community. So I have talked about this a little bit, but I just wanted to talk about it a little bit again, but in a slightly different way, right? This dual relationship, this braid of authenticity and loss. And I think it's an important thing to talk about because a lot of folks just want to positivity wash authenticity of like, yeah, once you're authentic, everything is going to be amazing. And on one hand, that is really true. Like, honestly, I would not choose living any other way. At the same time, I do think it's important to be real and honest about the fact that authenticity, it has this loss accompanying it by definition, right? And so if we are so preoccupied with loss, with fear of loss, being obsessed or even overly concerned about loss, our fear of it, are like, oh my God, is ever my friends going to abandon me? Am I going to get dumped? Will I never find love? Or will this person leave me? Or blah, 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 blah. Will I get canceled? Like all these things. That fear of loss, that being with loss, prevents authenticity. Prevents it, in my opinion. And if you are so tied up with this fear of loss, I would argue that you're not being 100% authentic. And let me clarify what I mean here. Because I think sometimes people get authenticity confused with like being an asshole or being really blunt and having no consideration for anyone else's feelings. And to be honest, I'm a very blunt and straightforward person. I'm sure I offend half the people on the planet most of the time. So there's a tough balance here, right, of looking after what is ours, taking responsibility for what is ours, not being an emotional caretaker of random people who we don't know, etc., 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 or maybe we even do know, but knowing what is ours, knowing what is not ours, owning ourselves, etc., but also not being a doormat and not being so subservient to our imaginary fears of how someone else may or may not react, to the point where we create ourselves into a pretzel out of deference to that other person, and by consequence of that, an abandonment of our own selves. So when we are being 100% authentic to ourselves, and I know that 100% number is like hard to hit, and I wouldn't even focus on that. I'm just using it as a bit of a rhetorical tool at the moment, so I don't get too focused on numbers or quantifying or whatever. But if you are being authentic to who you are, which in some ways will be steady, and in other ways will be in flux, in constant movement, there will be loss that comes with that. Yes, there will be deeper alignment. Yes, there will be feeling at peace with oneself. Yes, there will probably be a sense of relief and joy and expansiveness and excitement for the future and hope and all of that stuff. And probably there will also be an attraction kind of through the, wavelengths of the universe of people who are vibrating on that same kind of level. Right? So we do bring that to us, I think, when we're authentic to ourselves. We end up, when we're courageous, we find other people who are also courageous, which is cool. And, if we are being authentic probably we're going to experience loss, right? Whoever benefits from us not changing, us not growing, us not doing what they want, us not fitting that image they have of who they want us to be, and that changes because we change, but maybe they still want us to be that person that we're not anymore. Yeah, people are going to have feelings about that, and if they're the wrong people, potentially are going to be a little bit controlling, a little bit disappointed, a little bit this, a little bit that, and they might decide, you know what, fuck this person, this is not in alignment anymore. And you know what, it is within 100% their right to make that call, right? So I don't actually want to demonize anyone who is leaving. I don't want to demonize that loss. I don't want to judge those folks who are leaving, because sometimes that is the best outcome for everybody involved. You know, they have their sovereign power, their sovereign authority to make decisions that work for them, to act in alignment with their values, their desires, etc. And we have our own sovereignty as well to be who we want to be and have the boundaries that we have the values that we have. And I think a very difficult but true aspect of this universe is sometimes our boundaries are going to be incompatible. My version of authenticity and me being myself and all of that is absolutely going to be incompatible with other people being their authentic self. I might just not like them. Just sometimes there will be a reason for that. Sometimes there might not be. Or I might be turned off by their politics or the way they treat other people or blah, blah, blah. Lack of integrity, dishonesty, whatever it happens to be. And so that is something to keep in mind too when we are being authentic and we experience loss. It's okay for other people to decide that we are not the vibe for them anymore. That's okay, and it's actually a blessing, right? Because it makes space for what is more aligned. And of course, we also get to be the one to reject and say no sometimes too. And so one of the things I've been thinking about a lot in terms of human relationships and blah, blah, blah with all of this is, for me, a lot of it can be summed up with accept or reject. At this stage in life, I'm really not interested in persuading anybody to be anything other than they are. I'm really not interested in persuading in my personal life, like people to see this or that or blah, blah, blah. If something doesn't work for me, I'll state my boundary, state my preference. But, you know, if it's not aligned for everyone, then that's okay. I honor that person by being like, okay, no problem. Bye. Good luck with all your stuff. And I think that's fine. Right? I know it sucks sometimes to be rejected. It sucks sometimes to be told no. That can suck. But I do think that authenticity also means, you know, stepping away ourselves when that's the right thing to do. And allowing other people to step away too. And I think when we honor the authenticity in ourselves, it becomes a lot easier to honor the authenticity of others, even if that's not what we would choose for ourselves. When we honor our own authenticity, it's easier to say no to others, and it's also easier to hear no from others. To hear no, to receive no. And to be able to say, cool, thanks for letting me know. It takes, I think, a lot of self-awareness, a lot of humility, a lot of honoring of other people's agency, and I think also an abundance mindset to be able to do this, to operate from this place. And I will say, generally speaking, this is how I operate, and it's been really interesting, especially in a dating context, as I recently re-downloaded dating apps, my friends, so let's see how it goes. I deleted them in December. I think I'm ready to give it another go. But what's really interesting is I think a lot of these people I'm talking to, one of the things that seems to shock them and mystify them about me is I'm not trying to change them or persuade them to change who they are. Like, there's been a few conversations I've had where, people have shared some stuff about themselves where I'm like, I really don't know if that would work for me, but let's have a conversation anyway and see where this goes. And so what's really interesting is there's a few things in particular where I've had some conversations where, I'm pretty sure it was expected that I was just going to say, well, no, this is my point of view and I disagree and here's the reasons why. And, in order to go on a date with you, you need to come over to my side of things. And it's like, in this situation, which again, I haven't met this person yet, so who cares? But I'm giving this as just a kind of example of what I'm talking about. If I end up meeting this person and this ends up being a problem for me, I'll just peace out. I'll be like, you know what? It's been so lovely. And I've decided that, once I really sit with it, you're great, but this aspect is not something I'm comfortable with. So I have to bid you farewell. And at that point, if that person changes their mind and decides to, make that shift on my behalf, then that's their own call. It's not what I'm trying to do, not trying to manipulate anyone ever. But when we're so strong in our boundaries that our no, we're actually being authentic about it. And we're not saying no, or we're not leaving in order to manipulate or, control someone else. It's a genuine, I go in peace and this does not work for me type of thing, which is very different from how a lot of people operate. Very different. And it's a challenging thing to do because it requires that we operate from a space of trust. Trust in the abundance of the universe. Trust that what we seek is out there. Trust that our asks, our desires, our boundaries, our wishes are not too much. And we also, when we're operating from that space of abundance and clarity, we can honor that, hey, yeah, this is not going to work and I'm not going to, force it. If someone else wants to make a switcheroo, that's their own decision for their own selves. And we can be cool with that as well. It's really interesting to think about this, in my opinion. Like loss, authenticity, change, acceptance. And I hear a lot of people wanting to be accepted for their authentic selves. And I get that, and I think that's wonderful. But what's really interesting is a lot of the time people don't accept other people's authentic self. And don't take people at their word or think people are going to change or whatever. And one of the things I've learned is that love is not enough. It really isn't. I think love is wonderful. It's a beautiful, great experience. I'm sure most of us have had it, if not all of us listening. But it isn't enough, right? I think some people think that it is. And I think it's possible to love someone or to appreciate someone and wish they were someone different, but they're not, and that's okay. And we have to roll through life just with that acceptance, I believe, and honoring everyone by honoring our own boundaries and moving along from a space of authenticity. And understanding that not everyone is for us and we are not for everyone. And if we want to be honored in our authenticity, we have to honor others in their authenticity as well. Even if that means we can no longer be in relationship with that person in whatever format. So that's my thoughts for today, friends. I'm going to cut it off. I hope you guys are having a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful day. I hope you guys are enjoying that Mercury retrograde is over. I hope you guys are excited for Magic May. I hope you guys are excited for May 1st, I guess, is celebrated as Beltane by a lot of witchy folks. That used to be a really big one for me when I was a kid and a newbie witch when I was like 10. I had a really lovely flower pentagram necklace. It was so cool. I should try to find one of those again because it was awesome. But that was a really big holiday for me when I was a kid. I think less so now to some extent. Like I'm more in a different season of life, so it's different holy days that are really resonating with me these days. But if you are in a Beltane, May Day type of vibe, I hope you have a wonderful Beltane as well as the first day of May. And I do hope to see you in Magic May. I think it's going to be a fuck ton of fun. It's going to be sweet, and I'm already so excited for it. And actually what's really cool about the community is it has a leaderboard. I don't know how to say that properly. Letterboard, whatever. And it tracks everyone's points. So if you participate, you get points, and it's fun and exciting. I love it. Anyway, I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Talk to you guys on the internet. You guys can find me on Instagram, Sabrina M. Scott. My website, my old website, which I'm still kind of updating. It's probably a little bit outdated now. SabrinaMScott.com. If you want to grab a tarot reading, SabrinaMScott.com/readings. If you want to grab a hoodie, a shirt, a hat, something cute to wear to look adorable and cozy and awesome, shop SabrinaMScott.com. Please let me know if you want to request any items or any phrases or whatever, because I am in the process of designing some new stuff for that. And of course, if you want to join Magic May, creep the membership, claim your magic with Sabrina.com/membership. And of course, all my other links of random things, claim your magic with Sabrina.com/links. Okay, friends, that is all. I will talk to you guys soon. Much love. Take care. Bye.